People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. This is Big L, and I am back. Maybe. Shouldn't leave you with just X and Elroy, could we? Could we?
I don't
No,
think
we
we
couldn't.
want to torture the listeners that much.
No. And that sexy voice you hear is none other than Wild West 08, my running buddy. What's going on,
Well,
Jameson?
oh, not much. What's going on with you? The people want to know, what has Big L been up to?
Big L has been sitting here listening to the podcast. Elroy and who's the other guy? Oh, X the Hero. Yeah, they've been doing a great job. But I was listening to a recent episode, and between Elroy not knowing about Deadpool and X not knowing about the Goonies, I figured, you know what? I need to come back. This is ridiculous, right? I mean, come on now. I'm sure, all of us, all four of us listening, were definitely yelling at our phones or our YouTubes or whatever, and saying, "You guys don't know what you're talking about. We need Big L." And I can't do it alone. So I got my best mate, my best doctor friend, Wild West.
I
Man, I
thought you
miss
would say
you.
since we last talked that you were crying in a corner because my Dodgers beat your Mets, and then they ended up beating the
All right,
Yankees,
moving on.
and then because that is what happened.
Oh my God, that was so long ago. We can't talk about baseball.
Yeah, that's how
At
long
the
we've
end of
been gone.
November,
No, because what's
we're
at the
only.
end of November?
Oh, I don't know. It's not like we would sit here and talk about Thanksgiving food for the next 20 minutes. I mean, we wouldn't do anything like that, would we?
Thanksgiving food. I am looking forward to it. I know you've got some people coming over. I've just got my sister coming over. I'm looking forward to some good food and hopefully not getting called into work.
Oh no, could that happen?
That could. It's my turn for Thanksgiving this year, so.
I understand on July 4th if someone, blows their finger off or something like that. But what happens on Thanksgiving? Someone gets like a lot, drumstick shoved up their throat,
Well,
something like that.
people, eating their daily hamburgers decide to have a STEMI and need emergency bypass.
What?
It happens.
STEMI? What's that?
That's where basically you have a heart attack.
Oh, ischemic heart disease.
Yeah, ischemic heart disease.
I mean, I only worked for a heart doctor for over 20 years. You'd think I would know that stuff, but I don't. You have a very high ejection fraction if you keep listening to this show.
Which is good. You want to have a high ejection fraction.
Oh, good.
The
Yeah,
lower, the worse it
it's a great
is.
show. Right, exactly. It's a great show. So, in the last few months, I've definitely been playing video games still.
Good.
If you know anything about me, I usually go based off of the random to-do list, which is still alive and well. ZZ Urban Spaceman has left it in the capable hands of people like MDP and Fug. And if you need to be added to the random to-do list, you can go to the Discord channel, the RTDL channel. And what that is it gives you 25 random achievements to go for in the month. And you can set the games you don't want to show up on, not for contest, and go for it. Now, there are certain people like Ace and this month, like Shabobble Bobble, who get all 25 and then say, you know what, I want a second list, and what used to be more competitive is now just, you're doing this for yourself, you're doing it for fun. And what I've been doing lately is instead of going for all 25 achievements, I've been picking games that I actually want to focus on and play. And in doing so, I've sneakily gotten my completion percentage up to 80%. which is a goal I set a while ago.
Congratulations.
But I've been thank you, and it's with the right settings. So don't worry about it.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, right.
You can have the wrong settings on all you want.
Yeah, I guess since you're going to be editing this, you're always going to have the right settings, huh?
No, no.
No, whatever you say goes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'll talk about what I've been playing first, and then we'll go to what you've been playing.
Perfect.
So I've been playing a lot of stuff that I've actually talked about on the show before. I finished a game called Reverse Crawl, which is called Reverse Crawl because you play as the bad guys trying to defeat the good guys coming in, and you take control of different monsters and you destroy the humans, and it's a lot of fun. That's a Digirati game. And it's a role-playing turn-based game. The achievements in the game are a little bit of a pain because there's a few achievements where you have your choice of 3 things and you pick one, and you can't save scum. You have to just go through the whole game again and then start over and pick the other options. But nothing's too difficult. Whenever you play, you get XP, and whether you win or lose, you hold on to that XP, and you could give yourself skills and stuff like that. So whenever whether you die or not, you just keep going, and you'll eventually get this done. You just have to put some time into it. It's actually worth a pretty healthy 1800 TA right now. So I would think what a lot of people do is they probably beat it once, and then they're like, I'm good, and they don't go for the completion. But I got that one done.
That looks interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's goes on sale pretty often for like $3. I would grab it at that price. I hate to tell people not to buy games at full price, but when it's a $12 game that goes on sale for $3, it's kind of like it's just a weird mindset. You're like, I'm not going to buy this for full price because I know it goes on sale for 75% off quite often.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wait. And TrueAchievements.com has a lovely wish list button. You hit add to wish list, and then you get an alert whenever it goes on sale. Actually, TA had this option before Xbox had this option. So now you go in the Xbox store, and if something goes on sale, it'll pop up. It says, "Whoa, some games on your wish list are on sale." That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a nice feature.
Yeah. And if you're me, you get these notifications, and then you still don't buy the games because you're too cheap.
You're just waiting for the right time to play it, is what it is.
Right. Or insert joke about Michelle buying the game for me, as one would do. But I don't want any new games right now because I'm trying to complete what I have. Actually, one game Michelle and I have been working on is a game we talked about back in, I don't know, probably April. And you'll laugh at this one because we talked about this together. I remember it was MLB The Show 24.
Oh, yep.
So we've been when it came out, we started boosting it, and then we just picked it up and started boosting it again. And you don't really need to boost it. There's an achievement for getting 24 runs in one game, and we did it online in 2 players. And there was 1 or 2 games where we wound up seeing like a mercy rule, and the game just ended when it was like 15-0 or something like that. So I think what we determined is that when it's a 9-inning game, there's a mercy rule, but when it's a 3-inning game, there's no mercy rule, maybe. So anyway, we got that done for me, and then we looked at the solution afterward, and we're like, oh, you could just adjust the sliders and make it super easy. And
yeah,
that's
I think that same thing happened to me. I was trying to get it, and I got up by so much points, and I was like, wait, what? The game just ended? So I had to figure out the workaround to get it. But
yeah, so we're almost done with that. All we have left is finish 24 games, which is just easy enough. You just have to play 3-inning games, and I think there's a solution for you could do the mode where you just play as one character, and then you just keep doing your at bat over and over, and then you're done. But that's no fun.
Well, look at you not waiting until March of 2025
I know.
to
Well,
get MLB The
well,
Show going.
it's not done yet.
Because I remember making that
But
joke, earlier this year. I was like, "Oh, we'll see you
I'm
next year."
like,
Oh,
yeah, we'll get it done. It's an easy list, and 7 months have gone by. Good job, Al. Good job. And
progress.
I've also taken up playing some cozy games in the
Uh-oh.
vein of Koosh.
I was
Well,
gonna
I don't
say,
know if
is
these are
Koosh
considered
making a
cozy,
guest
but
appearance?
they're baby games, but they're not like super quick baby games. So there was one that was leaving Game Pass, which is that Frog Detective game. Do you know that game?
I do. Yeah,
Frog Detective, the entire mystery. Yeah, it was 3 chapters,
I
and it
did.
was very I don't know what word I would use. Quirky.
Quirky's a good word. Yeah.
Quirky. Yeah. You would talk to the villagers and try to solve mysteries, and then like nothing was difficult. You didn't need to use a guide, but there were a few missables, which was kind of annoying.
But they
But
did have chapter select, so that was nice.
there was chapter select if you missed something, which actually you needed for one of the last achievements. You pick one end and not the other, and you just load up the chapter select and it's done. Not
Yeah.
going to talk too much about that one because it just left Game Pass, unfortunately. That's a $20 game, but it's only been as low as $14, so not the best sale.
No, I
But
think even at 14, it's not really worth it. I think
yeah,
10 or
it was a few
less,
hours.
just because it's so short.
Yeah, it was okay. But like I said, quirky. Like sometimes the developer of the game would just pop in and comment on what's going on.
Yeah.
Because the characters would say something like, "Never believe what you read in books," and then she would pop up and say, "No, no, we're just kidding. No, books are great," and they would go right back to the character saying, "Yeah, everything you read in books is a lie."
Yeah.
And if you
It did
remember
have
these
some
things, but
fun
the
humor.
dialogue was yeah.
Yeah.
But there was one I liked even better, and it was Lil Gator Game. So that one is definitely an homage to Legend of Zelda, the 3D ones, and but instead of dungeon crawling, you basically just go around this open world, and you're doing a lot of fetch quests, and you're doing a lot of crazy stuff. And there's actually a story. You are a little boy, and you bonded with your sis, and her name is appropriately Big Sis, and you walk around and you try to solve quests, and it's all
Hmm.
like fake quests. Like they set up this whole world of quests and like cardboard cutout monsters to kill, and your currency is like shards of paper or confetti. And that one I really really enjoyed. That one just crossed a year in Game Pass. It's still there. So as far as I know, there's no rush, but it might be worth doing soon because that came out October of 2023.
Hmm.
That one I recommend. That's like a 4 to 5 hour game. Have you played that one?
I haven't. I mean, I've heard of you and Rocker, and I think Koosh. All three of you have talked about it. It's
It's
one that
really
I
fun.
definitely want to do, but just
Yeah,
haven't done
and
it
you could
yet.
play with your 17 kids. Oh, I missed you.
At least the number went down this time. So
It went, yeah, you had to give some up for adoption,
yeah,
pay for all these
but
games.
I do that because I can always just like see my wife's eyes in the back of my head as I am playing a game, and it's got some mature themes. And my daughters are running around, so I try to mix in some kid games in
Just
there too every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm playing Grand Theft Gator. It's great. It's definitely a good one. The achievement list was not hard. Um, if you use TA, you can get stuff done quicker. But I don't know. I'm starting to do that less and less, and just play. I will look up missables still, but this game I believe had none, so you could just play. And if something gives you trouble, you go back and you look it up.
That's good. I always like when games do that. Just let us play at our own pace. Let us go back to do things if we miss something. We don't need to be doing separate playthroughs and all that other stuff. Just let us enjoy the games.
Right? And one more game that I've been playing with my son. Everyone's going to sigh. You ready? You ready? You ready? Yes. Final Fantasy. The first Final Fantasy game. And I'm allowed to talk about this because if you go back and listen to any old episode, if we asked patrons questions about which game do you want to see come out with achievements, my answer was always Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, the old Final Fantasy games. And I finally completed these games with achievements, and I'm so happy.
It's all
And the
right.
first game was
I think Elroy needs to listen to your voice talk about Final Fantasy to get some sleep, before he starts teaching the next day. So
I mean, I saw Elroy just completed Sleeping Dogs. If he could play that long game, he could play Final Fantasy 1. It's not long. You could, even without accessibility and cheating or whatever you want to call it, it's like 8 to 10 hours. But there's so many cheats you can use, like XP boost and gold boost and turning off encounters. And what it basically means is you could play it at your own way. If grinding is not for you, you could pump up the XP and the gold. But you do have to go and fight things to fill out the bestiary anyway, and you do need to find all the treasures. But back in the NES days, there was no maps, but now there's just maps on the screen. It tells you how many treasures are in each area. So they made it pretty, like almost too easy now. You've been telling me you want to get to this, and when you do, just let me know.
I do. I have them all installed. I put my money where my mouth was, and I always said if they ever came over, I would buy them. And so the day they came out, I bought them, the whole pack. Because X had said that he'd watched the sales on PlayStation, and they never went more than 15, 20, maybe 25% off on the PlayStation side of things. So I figured if whatever price they were off, I think it was 15% or something they were off as an introduction.
Yeah, they launched at $60 instead of $75, and I believe they've been a little cheaper since then. But
yeah, they did have. Are they on sale for the Black Friday or something? They were like 55 or something. It was like $5 cheaper.
Yeah, I mean Square Enix games tend to go on sale fairly frequently, anyway. And the good thing about the Final Fantasy games is even if you don't want them all, you could just buy them piecemeal, one at a time.
Yep.
It looks like they're $56.24 right now for the bundle, or like you could get the first one for like $9 and just check it out.
Yeah. It is more expensive that way, but if you wanted to kind of spread the cost out a little bit instead of spending the 50, so
it's more overall. But some smart people might budget this thing called a budget and
not blow it on Subway sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, that's a bridge too far, sir. You need Subway sandwiches to survive in this world.
Only when you're, in college or something.
That's better food than like elementary school food, like Jamaican beef patties and stuff. I don't know if they had that in your neck of the woods.
I don't think so. Doesn't sound familiar.
All right, well, my neck of the woods was the country of Jamaica. Anyway, I'm a little delirious right now. It's late. I'm so excited for recording again. I'm excited for Thanksgiving. I'm excited for everything. I'm excited to go to Pennsylvania on Black Friday and go to X's store for his buy two get one free sale. Are you coming with me?
That'd be too long of a drive for me to do. So
come on, you have a private jet. You're rich.
No, I don't have a private jet.
You don't? I find that hard to believe, sir. All right, well, I want to know what you've been playing so I could either make fun of you or most likely be jealous of you're playing a real game.
That's right. We got to bring some real games back to the podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I've been, same as you, just kind of been enjoying a lot of different games. There was quite a lot that left or is leaving Game Pass soon. I got done a lot of stuff that I wasn't expecting to do, but one of the ones that has stood out to me in the last couple months since we've recorded was a surprise addition to Game Pass, and that was Mafia Definitive Edition. Have you played this one?
No, but I don't have to because in New York that's just like a role-playing game.
That's true. You step outside, but instead of this one,
I'm part of it. Exactly.
Instead of stepping outside in the 20s and 30s, you got to update it a little bit, but still.
Exactly. No.
They probably just teach this in your history class, right?
Exactly, the family history. Look,
We're
watch
not
this.
gonna
Bada bing. See?
we're not gonna
You
actually
bet.
teach you anything. We're just gonna have you play this video game that'll tell you what happened in the world. So anyways,
Yeah, tell me about it.
so this is the first game I believe in the Mafia series, and it's a series that I've long wanted to play. I just had never really gotten around to it. It's one of those ones that I was like, well, when it hits the right time and the right price, I will buy it and I'll play it. And then it came onto Game Pass, and so I was like, well, I mean, basically free for me. I will play it. So this is a remake of the 2002 video game of Mafia. And after I was done playing it, I kind of went back and looked at some gameplay videos and some pictures of the 2002 version. And I've got to say, they did a great job of updating the graphics, the gameplay, just the whole style of the game. They did a great job of updating all of it to this definitive edition. That it's probably one of the best definitive editions out there on the market right now for those older games. It's it was very. I mean, if you didn't know that it was a remake of an old game, you might just think this game's maybe at best a couple years old. Like it was just the graphics were great. So this game is set during the 30s in a fictional city in Illinois. You play as a guy named Tommy, who's a cab driver. He gets kind of caught up in this world. He's trying to just make an honest living and everything, and obviously trouble happens. He ends up taking some gangsters back to their hideout because they were getting shot at, and they just said, hey, if you ever want anything, come back to us. Well, the people that were shooting these other people, they ended up finding Tommy and wrecked his cab, and so he went over to the gangsters that he saved and is like, hey, I want some payback and all this stuff. And so that's kind of how it started. And then he just kind of worked his way up in the mafia that he was a part of, and you just kind of do missions for it and kind of help him up until the very end. So it's basically his whole life story in this game. Not that it's a real life, but just his whole life in that video game. So it's a third person shooter, and you get to drive cars in it as well. So it's a little bit of an open world, not a terribly big open world, but it is a little bit of that. And you just visit different parts of that, and you complete all the story missions and everything. Let me check real fast. I believe there's about 20 story missions. Yeah, but anyways, there's about 20 story missions in the game. They're not very long. I'd say they range from about 5 to 15ish minutes. So you can usually knock off a few of them every night, which is what I would do. And you get an achievement for each story mission that you do. There is difficulty achievements in this game. So there's a easy mode all the way up to a classic mode, which is the hardest. I decided that I just wanted to do one playthrough of the game. And so I started on classic mode, and I had no prior knowledge of anything in this game. And I did not struggle at all with the classic mode, except for the infamous race that they have in one of the middle missions. You get entered into this race, and you have to win the race for an achievement. And the achievement is a lot harder to do on classic than it is on easy. So if you wanted to, I think you could just do it on easy and complete the whole game, and then you'd have to go back and redo everything on classic to get that achievement. But there are I did find a YouTube guide that kind of cheesed it a little bit, so I kind of went that way with it because I just wanted to continue with the story that way. But other than that, most of the achievements are story-related achievements. The other half of the achievements are collectibles, which unfortunately is the downside to this game. There are a ton of collectibles in the game. Luckily, the only saving grace is that when you do a collectible that's in an actual story mission, it saves right away that you got it. So if you did miss anything, you can chapter select to that chapter that you missed the collectible, grab it, and then quit out, and you have it. I just kind of kept a collectible guide for story missions, just so I would be able to catch them as I was going through the different story. And then at the end of the game, after it was all done, there is a open map section that you can play on the starting menu, and you can just click on that for free play, and you can just go around and get the rest of the collectibles that are around the city and finish everything up. So that's pretty much all the achievements there. I don't think there's really much else on. I think there's a few other little achievements related to, because you can have cops in the game chase you when you're in free play, or when you're going to story mode. If you're running civilians over in your car or stuff like that, the police will get called on you. So there's a few little other miscellaneous achievements, but I would say about 90% of them are collectibles or story related missions. So otherwise, it's definitely a check this game out on Game Pass. It's a fun game. Let me see time wise. So it says I spent about 20 hours on the game, 21 hours. TA has it as a 20 to 25 hour completion, so definitely worth a check out.
Easy enough to complete.
Yeah, even the classic mode. Obviously, you can't just go in guns blazing; you're going to die. But I mean, if you just kind of do the cover and shoot, or do everything smart, it's really not that difficult to get through. The hardest part is just doing that race. If you want to complete it in one go.
Okay. So what kind of gun does Tommy have?
So it's kind of got the classic. Obviously, you got the Tommy gun. You got a bunch of different pistols. You got a
Oh,
bat. Yeah, was that what you were waiting for?
no. He must have done that on purpose.
Named him a
Oh,
classic
a bat.
Italian name. Yeah, he's got bats. There's grenades. There's
Oh,
Molotovs, shotguns.
You know what's scary? The fact that pretty soon we can't just say the 30s. We'll have to say that either the 1930s or the 2030s.
Yeah.
But hopefully we don't have to worry about that. We just say the 30s, and people know. People know.
Well, for
Do
you,
they talk like the gangsters on like the trope, like yeah, see, that kind of thing?
not like that. It's more of, I think they had all Italian actors from what I was reading on it, so it was pretty. I thought it was pretty well voice acted in the game.
Oh, really? That's cool. Ah, that seems like a game I'd actually like to play. Just kind of longish, but you know what? I have to get over it.
See, where you say longish, and that for me, that's kind of like a middle.
20 hours is short.
20 hours is on the shorter to middle. I'd say it's a middle. Anything to me
20.
like above 15 to 20 plus is.
Yeah, you binge 20 hours in one day, probably.
No.
No.
Let's see. I started this on August 28th and I finished it on November 13th. So what's that, about 2 weeks? Probably could have been a little bit faster.
Or October.
August.
That's 3 months ago.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I see. 2 weeks?
Yeah, about 2 weeks. Probably playing about 2 hours a day. I think I played a little bit more on the weekends, but
then you don't play anything else?
Usually I'll try to focus on one game at a time. I'm not one that likes to go game hopping, because then I got to relearn controls and how things move, and I just like sticking with the game.
You did join us for some Rocket League once or twice, so that was fun. That's always a fun time.
I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
The hardest part is installing that game, and there's always these different screens, like those license screens. I don't know, they got to get their act together, those Rocket League people. There's been a lot of connection issues lately, but still fun. Still fun. All right, well, thank you for talking about Mafia Definitive Edition. I don't know what's so definitive about it. I guess that just means it's new and remastered. That's the new way of saying it's just remastered without saying it's remastered.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one thing I wanted to mention quick before we wrap up. And it looks like Mafia has 3 different genres: third-person shooter, stealth, and open world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this month in November has been all about genres. There's the bingo. I don't know if you play the bingo, but there's the achievement contest. The TA contest is bingo this month, in which you put what genres you're willing to go for, and then it randomizes, and you go for a bingo. So you get a board with genres on it, and you just try to get a bingo. And then there's the targets. And one of the targets this month was to get 20 different genres.
Yep.
And I'm actually at 19 right now. So Mafia reminded me, because Mafia has 3 different genres. So the nice thing is even if you get 1 achievement, it counts for the 3 different genres.
Mm-hmm.
So last night I actually used Forza Horizon 4 because that counts for simulation racing, battle royale, automobile, and open world. So that's very cool. And if I tell you what achievement I got, you'll laugh, because it's something I've also talked about on the show that was kind of a pain. It's the Koosh's favorite achievement, the noisy cartographer, the one for driving down every road.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been at 98% for so long, and I finally just something, and I've always stare at the map, and then something just clicked. I'm like, oh, that's a gray road. Oh, that's a gray road. I never went down that one, and then I finally got that one done. And there's 531 roads, and it pops at 529 for whatever reason, and that's says so in the guides, and that's exactly what happened. And I guess those 2 roads will forever be unclaimed because I am not looking. So there, Forza. So there. But yeah, the genre bingo's forced me to play some stuff that I might not have played, and that's what's always fun about these contests.
You going to go for the whole bingo blackout at all on your board, or are you just stopping where you're at?
Imagine out.
Yeah, I have
don't
most
think
of
so.
mine. I had to choose a few extra ones on mine just to fill up the spot, but
I don't think I'm going to do that, no. But
I think I have ended up with 2 or 3. Yeah, 2 or
there's
3
a leaderboard
bingos
for a number of bingos.
Yeah, that's what Elro was saying last week. Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't looked at it in a while. Yeah, some of those are crazy numbers, like they always are.
Well, I know without even looking that Northern Lass is near the top. I'm pretty sure that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Yep, she's number 6. That's amazing. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, congrats.
She's number 6, and number 1 has double what she has. That's absurd.
It is.
He has 181 bingos, and he's number 1 has 361 as of this recording, with about a week to go, less than a week to go.
That's just crazy.
All right, we're going to keep things relatively short this week due to the fact that a holiday is coming up, and also Mr. Wildwest is going to be editing this bad boy, or attempting to, and I thank you very much for doing so, and we hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we hope that you continue to listen.
Yeah, and before we go, just I hope everything works out well with the editing. Hopefully it's not too choppy and everything. This is my first time ever. I have no prior experience doing this. I've gotten a lot of help from Koosh, with a lot of tips and everything. So I hope everything goes well and it comes out all right on Sunday or Monday or whenever it releases. So
yeah, whenever it releases, Sunday, Monday, next year, whatever, 2030s.
20. Yeah, the last episode of 326. Yeah, last episode of 326. They're on 600. Yeah,
exactly. All right, that was fun. Thank you for joining us. Next time we'll next time we'll add more stuff. But as of now, class is dismissed. Discuss the episode of podcast discussion. Let us know what we can do differently. Please, the podcast is yours. Talk to us. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. Bye.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. See ya.
Snuggle down with the Wookiee moves. It's cozy time with Chewie and Koosh. It's cozy time with Chewie and Koosh.
Hello and welcome to Cozy Time with Chewie and Koosh. This is a new segment where you get to listen to a Wookiee and a Moose talk about some pretty chill games to relax to. I'm Chewie.
I'm Koosh.
Nice. This is the first time we, I think, have actually recorded together apart from a couple of random guest spots I've had on the panel.
Exactly. Just the two of us, our first time together. Yes.
And it's very cozy. It's very warm. We're both furry animals.
Mm-hmm. Just got the laundry out of the dryer, and I'm just kind of nestled right in there. It's all good.
Yeah. I got a cup of cocoa with the marshmallows floating on top. It's pretty good. This segment came about because I have been listening to the podcast for many years and very much enjoyed your takes on games, which I'd say broadly align to my own personal tastes. You're a fan of adventures, what we would kind of typically call a Koosh game, as opposed to a Corey game or an L game or a Fufu game. What is a Koosh game?
Okay, a Koosh game is, it. Well, I know it when I see it, but I think I've been training people, for better or for worse, to also identify a Koosh game. It tends to be colorful. It tends to be, I don't want to say timeless graphics, but I want to say the type of graphics that don't age as quickly as others. Just because they're cartoony or they're just, artistic. I do like wholesome games, but they don't always have to be that. There could be like an edge to them or something. You see like, oh, that feels like there's gonna be a dark twist somewhere in this game. That gets me too. But yeah, most times it's like the colorful kind of cartoony type graphics and characters.
Yeah, and I think the word cozy kind of comes up quite a lot, and it's kind of a popular term these days. These kind of cozy games, and I'd say that kind of fits with this description somewhat, but there are, like you say, some games which maybe do have darker takes, so they're not necessarily that cozy. Mm-hmm. For me, I love adventure games. I've talked about them a lot on the podcast and in the Discord. Point and clicks, obviously, as well, but just generally kind of adventure games where exploration is kind of key, and I do like a story game. But basically for me, I just kind of suck at games. So games that are very action heavy, twitchy, high skill, I struggle with, and kind of my fallback in the games I tend to like are the ones where there's a bit less of a penalty for not being great. And maybe they're a little bit more relaxing, and have kind of these chill vibes. And I think that kind of lines up to what we would generally call a Koosh game as well. Although, there are obviously exceptions, and they aren't all adventure games, right? You've got stuff.
No, they're not all. No, but I do like combat too, though. So like Death's Door, for instance. Clearly, I would consider a Koosh game, but it's got combat. But when it comes to a Koosh game with coziness, yeah, I would say there's typically not death. Or big repercussions for death, and it's really is about that exploration and just like a way to kind of reset, like and just kind of relax while you're playing a game. Just enjoy a game and not thinking about something else. A lot of times this will be a game I play between games as well. Like so, I'll have like a big time with like a 40-60 hour game, and then I'll be like, you know what, I need something nice and concise and just like a palate cleanser. And I find these cozy games are perfect for that.
Exactly, yeah. And when I heard that you were stepping back on the panel, I was definitely missing my Koosh games from my life. So basically I lassoed you and tied you down and said, look, can we continue talking about Koosh games or cozy games together and make a little segment of it? And we have.
Yeah.
So, I think that basically covers what the segment's about. I think we're each going to talk about a game that we've been playing recently that kind of fits that mold. Do you want to kick things off?
Sure. The game that I would like to talk about, and I just picked it up and finished it in a series of a few hours, is called Paradise Marsh. let's see, it's currently $15.50. So I got it on sale. I did not pay full price, and I would recommend doing that as well. What is Paradise Marsh? Well, there's not a whole lot of like narrative to it. You just kind of get dropped into this swamp or marsh, and I had no idea what was going on. I was like, oh, did I miss something? Was I not paying attention? But no, they really do just kind of plop you down. It's, I think, a single developer, their first game. And it really is all about exploring this marsh and just kind of figuring out what you're even doing there. Like, what is your job? I turned it around, and the first thing I saw was a monolith. And I was like, what? This is like, I can't remember. You're the movie guy.
2001?
Yeah, I was thinking 2001. I just like, there's apes, there's like music. And I was just like, that's so weird. No, so kind of walk over towards that. And as you're kind of exploring, you're like, well, that looks out of place. That looks weird. And you start hearing little bug noises. And so you start kind of tracking those down. And very quickly on, you're going to get a net. And then your job really is just to capture bugs and capture enough bugs. Every time you capture a new bug, your journal opens up, and you have your journal has a little bit of information about them, like what biomes you find them in, what time of day, and maybe just like a little flavor text about them. But then there's also like a little number. And once you catch that number of them, I think the most is 5. You then basically can make a constellation out of, I guess you're actually catching stars. I'm not quite sure, but at nighttime, and there is a day-night cycle to this game. It's very short. It's like maybe 2 minutes, something like that per, day, and then two minutes a night. So the sun just keeps setting and rising. If you're just standing there, it's just going to keep changing. But you can then go to the monolith and look through it, and you can see these constellations. And you basically just draw the constellation once you've got them all completed. And that is, for the most part, the main part of the game. They then released an update to it that added these missions. They're called Lost Souls. And what you're supposed to do there is do little quests for them. And it's like 1 quest per lost soul, maybe 2 quests. And then you kind of help them, shepherd them on into the afterlife a little bit later in the game. But that's it. I mean, that is really all you're doing. But it's just kind of fun to explore and find these things. Like, tiny spoiler, maybe, I guess. In the middle of this swamp, there are these little tiny islands, and there's some shopping carts. And then there's also some soccer balls. So what are you going to do? Right? You see a soccer ball, you see something kind of net-like, yeah, I'm going to kick that thing in there. And boom, you get rewarded with an achievement. And that's the type of fun exploration type popping of achievements that just, it really gets me, and that's what I love to do, right? You do something kind of fun in the game, and bam, here's your little dopamine hit. And they've got all those kinds of things going on. There's that one, and then there is one for jumping on some lily pads and talking to enough people. It's just a fun little game. And like I said, they don't really tell you what to do. You're just going out and exploring and in this marsh, and it kind of feels like you don't know what you're doing. And one thing I should mention, I don't think it's random where everything is, but I feel like it's just one big ball that you're walking on. But it doesn't look that way. It just looks flat. And then so you don't really know where each zone is. You just kind of walk until you get to that zone that you're looking for. And when you're looking for bugs, the best way to find them is to have headsets on or have your volume turned up. You do not want to turn the volume down in this game, because the sound of the bug will help you find the bugs.
Don't they have like a little glint as well that you can kind of see
yes.
in the distance?
Yeah, points of interest will kind of glint off in the distance. And then once you get closer, you just have to figure out, okay, well, how am I going to get that bug? And some of them are just very easy. Some of them are a little skittish. Some you might have to approach from behind. But yeah, and yeah, you're just collecting bugs, man. It's like that is a cozy game. You're in there. Oh, one other thing that made me laugh when we were talking about this segment is that like when you're in the winter biome, you'll start to get cold, and like the edges of the screen will start to like frost up. And then if you kind of find a campfire and you stand in front of it, you like put your hands out, you start getting all like warm in front of the campfire. It's like, that is hilarious. We're going to talk about this. Yeah, totally cozy. Get cozy with the fire. But yeah, that's Paradise Marsh, and at like $16, I think that's a little much for what you're getting, because there's not much more to this game than that. It does take a couple hours of just running around doing all this stuff, but yeah, I actually added a couple solutions because it was a little bit. There were a couple of achievements that didn't have solutions that, man, if I had known, it would have made it a little bit nicer. So I put a couple in for that hopefully will be the more, what am I supposed to do for this type of achievement? Like the description just doesn't help you. So hopefully that'll help if people get stuck.
Yeah, I did this game back in the Year of the Adventure kind of contest that I ran last year. And I did it pre-title update and then had to come back to do the title update. And yeah, it's basically Bug Collector Simulator, right? It's
pretty much.
Yeah, it's very cutesy. And I don't know. My main problem was that I did feel like it was randomly generated, the layout of the biomes, mostly because I just could not figure out the layout. And certain bugs and certain things appear in certain biomes, and then with the Lost Souls, each one of those is kind of based around a biome. And I'm trying to remember now, aren't there like towers in each biome you have to...
Yeah, so
the signals or something like that too.
Yeah. So first of all, the Lost Souls only show up at night because they're Lost Souls are ghosts, and you have to collect like 4 or 5 of them, and then you'll be able to talk to the person, and then they'll give you a fun gadget to play with. Like one's a fisherman, one is a radio person. They like their ham radio, so you're listening to radio stations. Another one is has a super soaker, and you have to clean up graffiti. But then the cool thing is you can put out fires. So the super soaker is fun. But yeah, so you have to find each one of those. And the nice thing is that because it's at night, they have these large spires of light that make it really easy to find them in the distance. So that kind of helps you with finding them. Not the bugs so much, but the biome that each one of the Lost Souls is in when you have to go turn in a quest. And like I said, there's only 1, maybe 2 quests per one of these people. So
I just remember getting very lost trying to find a specific biome and just walking until I just randomly came across it, because
would you walk straight or would you like go right?
I would meander.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, I try walking straight, assuming, like you say, if it was like a ball, I might come around around the right way. But then it's possible I was missing it entirely.
I tell you, there's this one achievement for finding a flower, and a particular flower. I was like, number one, I'm not a flower guy, so I don't really know what every flower looks like. And yeah, a daisy. Okay, it was a daisy. I don't know exactly what a daisy looks like, but because I believe there are multiple colors. But I had a general idea, and there are flowers in the game. You cannot interact with them until you find this one particular one you can. And so I was just like, I have no idea what biome this would even be in, like probably like a springish biome, right? And I thought I was in the spring biome, but it doesn't say spring when you're there. It doesn't say anything. So I eventually did find it. But yeah, I was, when I was talking to you about this and you were like, I think it's randomly generated. I don't know, because I would like have 3 biomes in my sight at a time, right? Because off in the distance, you can kind of see it's frozen, and over here it's like dark woods. And so I could kind of keep those and kind of in my mind remember where they were when I left them. So like finding the next biome was a little bit more difficult, but going back to one that I'd already seen,
yes,
they were always where I thought they were. So yeah, finding a new one was hard, but like going back to one I had just found.
Well, the draw distance is not good, so it kind of, the world unveils itself as you walk. So you can see somewhat into the distance, but not all the way. So like to see, oh, what's that one over there? You have to get closer in order for it to kind of reveal itself. But yeah, I mean, it's chill, it's relaxing. Like you say, I think it's overpriced for what it is.
Yeah.
But definitely worth it on a deep sale if you like just a nice, chill, relaxing adventure.
And, yeah, the lowest price was $7.75. So that's why I picked it up at. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would love to be even cheaper, but I mean, you can't ask for them to cut it down much more.
One thing they did add in the title update was they also added fishing and catching fish alongside the bugs. And I do want to point out, because we don't have Big L with us, but there's an achievement for fishing called Art of the Rod, and the description is, "You're a real master baiter."
Yep, I knew it was going to come up some way.
I just feel like it's worth pointing out.
It is.
My game I was going to talk about is a Game Pass game, and it is called Return to Grace. And Return to Grace is essentially basically a walking simulator. And I did debate whether we counted walking simulators as kind of a Koosh type game or a cozy game. But I guess they are. I mean, they usually you're just walking and exploring. So I think they do fit the mold. Yeah. But
maybe not all, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of horror walking sims, which I think maybe would be too stressful to fit for cozy time. Return to Grace is not one of them, though, so I'm happy that it fits. And in Return to Grace, you play the role of Addie. She is an astronaut, and it's set in the far distant future. I mean, it's like the year 3200 something or other. And you start off the game having crash landed on Ganymede. And over the course of the game, you kind of discover what she's doing there, why she's there, what she's exploring. And basically, you're there to investigate this super powerful AI called Grace, hence Return to Grace, who basically shepherded humanity. So that's in our future, but at some point 900 years before the events of the game, Grace went dark and created basically another dark age, because humanity was so reliant on this AI. Basically, we'd become extraordinarily lazy and let this super duper AI control everything we did and rule us almost like a god. And at some point, just randomly, she was like, no, and turned off. And humanity went, balls. And it's taken 900 years to get to the point where they've been able to kind of put together communications, technology, skills, everything that they'd lost, to the point where she is able to then go and find out what the heck happened to Grace. Why did this happen? So your journey is you walking through this facility on Ganymede, which is kind of like a temple to Grace almost. You figure out that while Grace was active, people used to just flock to this place where she was based, almost like a pilgrimage in their thousands, and they would record wishes to Grace for what they would like in their lives. And it wasn't that she granted those wishes, but by sharing their desires to her, it made her more powerful and capable to, it's kind of like what they fed the AI, the generative AI, to learn and respond and then shepherd humanity based on our desires and our wants and our needs. So you go over this, go through this temple and you figure out what's going on. But what kind of sets this game apart and makes it not just like an ordinary walking sim is quite early on, you pick up another AI, which is basically like a subset of Grace, that is controlling the temple and its systems and keeping it running, even though Grace herself is not there anymore. And the first one you pick up is called Logic. And then you pick up another one called Control, and then another third one called Empathy. And those are like the three main components of Grace. And they all have each distinct personalities, which match their roles. So Logic is really analytical and really hates anything emotional. Empathy, who is the opposite of that, is guided by emotion, and she controls the like life support systems in the temple. And when you have to work with Empathy, she like aligns your chakras just to make sure that you've got the personal oxygen balance and climate just perfectly for you. So it's like this empathetic AI. And then Control, who controls all the kind of major systems, is really bossy and self-aggrandizing. And then in order to progress through the game, you rely on these different AIs to unlock doors for you or to guide you through different areas. But then also you need to create then subdivisions of those AIs. So you mix Control and Logic to create one, and Logic and Empathy to create another. And you end up with 6 different AIs. So it's like walking through this facility with a group of very different personalities all talking to you and overlapping and arguing with each other. And the way that that's all written is kind of probably the highlight of the game is just those conversations and how those different personalities interact. But also it kind of underpins this whole idea that you need all of those different elements of Logic, Empathy, and Control in order to create this well-rounded kind of AI individual or personality.
How do they identify the different AIs? Are they like really well voiced or distinctive?
Yeah, they are completely distinctive. So what you're doing is you're wearing like a wristband, like an Apple Watch type device, and when they're talking, it's like a face showing up on your device. So 2 eyes and a little squiggly mouth, like a sound wave. But
Okay.
each one is color coded, makes it easier, but also like little emoji eyes. So, like Empathy has like little cutesy moon eyes, and Logic is like very square. And the little squiggly sound waves as they talk also match that. So Control, who is this like angry guy who talks like this, is really spiky, but Empathy is really smooth and kind of rounded. And they all have very distinctive voices. So it's like a little family that you end up with of AI by the end, all kind of talking and guiding you through it. And then at different moments in the game as well, you are presented with a choice of which path you want to take. It happens maybe 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the AIs will say, well, you could go this way and find out more and explore and learn more, or you could take the short, and then another AI will say, or you could take this shortcut, which is quicker, but also more dangerous and you might die. And you've got to make those kind of choices. And basically that's a lot of the achievements are based around picking, choice A and choice B at different times. And it does mean you have to do multiple playthroughs because there are achievements based around those choices. And depending on which choices you make predominantly, you get 2 different endings. And there are achievements based around those different endings as well. So you do have to do 2 playthroughs. It's only a 2-hour game, maybe. Okay. So it's a short one. So I think total completion time is like 4 to 5 hours. So 2 playthroughs plus a partial one. I would say you could do it completely blind and you may end up having to do 3 full playthroughs, or you could do a single playthrough blind and then use the walkthrough to kind of help you be clever about saves and things for the next second and partial one. And it is pretty much entirely just walking around, opening doors, going in lifts. It's 90% walking and exploring. There is some more gameplay elements to it, though. There's a couple of sections where you have to do some balancing on some beams to get from one section to another, which is the typical, like walk a little bit forwards and then she'll start going, oh, and you have to counterbalance left and right if she starts leaning one way or the other. It's very minimal, though. It's very easy. It's impossible to fail, really. And there are a couple of puzzles, some sound and light based puzzles, but again, super easy, very basic. And you can ask the AI to give you hints or basically solve it for you if you can't be bothered. And then also the wishes you come across. So you go through this complex and there's like apartments and where people used to stay, and they'd record their wishes for grace on these little canisters, like in the old like pneumatic tube systems.
Mm-hmm.
Where you'd put a thing in a little tube and then send it on its way through a pipe to a central kind of system. You can find these little tubes lying around with the wishes, and then you can hack them to listen back to what people's wishes were about what they wanted from their lives and things. And you do that by basically like tuning into them. So you move a little ball around a surface and you'll get a signal rating. So you just have to find the sweet spot, right? It'll go up or down depending on where you move it. And when you hit the sweet spot, then you've hacked it. Very basic, very simple. That's basically the entire game. I'd say it's very narrative heavy, and but it's a really, really nice, well told little story, very well written, and the AI kind of the performances of the AI and the way that they kind of interact is probably the highlight, definitely.
I got really big BioShock vibes when I was first looking at this game.
Yeah, so the aesthetics are kind of this like retro futuristic style. So it's this like 60s. It's not so futuristic. The kind of color palette and some of the design elements kind of it's like what they used to imagine the future would look like in the 60s.
Mm-hmm. Or Austin Powers, yeah,
like the Jetsons or something like that. More, I'd say something like that's the kind of vibe, which I think kind of ties into this idea that it's far into the future, but they've experienced this dark age where they've basically regressed as humanity and then had to build up from there. So it's this kind of mix of old and new together. But yeah, I mean, it's just a really nice little story. And it's kind of timely as well, because it talks about, technology and how we use technology and AI in particular, which obviously is it's a kind of hot topic at the moment, because I work in IT and we're kind of figuring out how AI fits with the systems that we manage and interacts with people. We've even shamelessly used AI for our little theme song that you may have heard at the top of the show. Which it's controversial as well. I know it's a controversial thing, and actually it's an interesting thing, and the game kind of talks about that, about how if we rely on AI too much, we will become apathetic as a species, and we could end up dying out because we rely too much on it, and we lose our ability to be self-motivated, and there's a satisfaction in having to do things ourselves instead of relying on technology too much.
I mean, how many phone numbers do you know?
Actually, I do know my own, and I know my wife's. And that's pretty much it.
Before cell phones, I probably had a good 10 phone numbers in my head, knew all my friends' phone numbers. Yeah. And so I can totally see, with AI, just everything else that you would just not have your brain do anymore. You just offload it.
Well, even recently I forgot my PIN number. I had to put my PIN number in for something on my card. My PIN number that I've had for years has never changed, and I just completely forgot it because I have been contactless and Apple Pay for so long that I haven't had to use it, and I'm just like, wait, what is it? yeah. It's a very interesting topic, and I think the game kind of talks about those things really interestingly. And if you like adventure games, walking sims, sci-fi stuff, kind of intelligent sci-fi things, there's a few games that I think are like that. It's one of my favorite kind of subgenres is these kind of thoughtful, intelligent sci-fi games. The Turing Test, Tacoma, Deliver Us the Moon. What's the one where you're in space and you're stranded on a space station. There's like 10 of them. There's a bunch.
It describes a couple.
Yeah.
I think I know the one you're talking about, though. I thought you already said it. I thought it Delivers to the Moon was that one.
Delivers to the Moon is like that, but there was one that was on Game Pass at around the same time, and it's like you control this bot in other parts of the space station.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I did that one.
Yeah, it was good. So good, I can't remember the name.
So good. So good. If only there was an AI that could remember what it was for us.
Yeah, like I say, it's one of my favorite subgenres, and this one ticked all the boxes, so recommend it from that perspective. But minimal gameplay, so if you're looking for something a bit more gamey, this is not going to be it.
Right. Sounds cozy.
It is. It's not. It's very linear, and so if you're looking for something a little bit more like Paradise Marsh, where it's just freedom to do whatever you want, however you want, and explore the world, it's not that. It's a lot more of a linear narrative-driven game.
So not a whole lot of backtracking, just like you basically.
No, not at all. It's point A to point B pretty much the entire way, but very relaxing, very chill, very interesting, very kind of thoughtful, and there is no stress involved because there's nothing to be good at, or there's no death. Yeah.
Is it the sort of game where you're worried about a jump scare? Like, I know there's a jump scare coming, right?
No, because like a lot of these walking sims, there is a lot of horror stuff and there's a lot of tense stuff. There's no tension in this really at all. The tensest moments are those balance beam bits. But as far as I can tell, you can't fail them. All that happens is you fall and you just hold on and then you climb back up again and carry on. Yeah. So, the worst that you can do is,
a lot of pull-ups.
Yeah. But you don't go back. You just carry on from that point. So it's not like you have to keep retrying or anything. You just carry on.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention is the achievements. Now, the achievements are, as I said, they're mostly story-based or they're based on those different choices. But there is a rather fun thing about the achievements. For me, you said I was a film guy. Well, every single achievement is basically a reference to a film, a quote from a film. I'm gonna list a few here, and I'm gonna see. It's trivia time. Koosh, are you ready for this?
I am ready for this.
Okay, I'm going to name off some of the achievements from Return to Grace, and you're going to tell me what film you think they are from. It's completely nothing to do with the game. This is just me hijacking it, turning into a film podcast.
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Hello there.
Hello there. Paddington 2.
No, it's Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Jumping up. Oh. It's Obi-Wan. He goes, hello there.
Oh.
He jumps up when he sees General Grievous.
Oh, General Grievous.
General Grievous.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. How about this? No disassemble.
No. Yeah. Okay. No disassemble would be Johnny Five.
Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Short Circuit.
Okay. Here's an easy one. Clever Girl.
Clever Girl. Jurassic Park.
Clever Girl. Yes. Okay, now there's a really fun bit because in one of the apartments that you're exploring, you go into one of the bathrooms, and on a shelf in the bathroom are 3 seashells, and you unlock an achievement that says, don't they know how to use the 3 seashells?
Mm-hmm. Demolition Man.
Demolition Man, which is I just love that. Great, it's a great reference. And
that is a great reference, and it sounds like it's very subtle too. Or was there an achievement about it, or is it
There's an achievement that pops up, and if you had no idea, if you didn't know Demolition Man and you weren't following guides, you would be like, "Why did I just get an achievement for going into this random bathroom?"
This guy loves shells. It's weird.
Yeah. As You Wish.
Of course, Princess Bride.
Mm-hmm. What about Put It Up to 11?
Spinal Tap, of course.
Yeah. Don't Cross the Streams.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Wilson.
Okay. Castaway. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And that is a small selection. Oh wait, hang on. One more. 'Tis But a Scratch.
'Tis But a Scratch. Oh, right. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, of course.
Yeah. Elle is shouting at you right now. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, it took me a second. That's, my brain. There's no AI to help me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm particularly enthusiastic about this game, partly because of just the creativity of the achievement list and the fact that they managed to. And it's not random either. Like those random lines fit what is happening in the game and the context of what's going on. Sometimes it's like an Easter egg, and sometimes it's a direct reference to what's happening, and they've somehow managed to connect it to a film quote. Which,
is every single one of these a film quote? Every
single one. If you go to the walkthrough, which is really helpful, the walkthrough is written by Belindo152 on TA. They have put a page in the walkthrough that collects all of the achievement names and all of the films that they come from. There's a bit of trivia.
Yeah. Some of these I'm just like, I don't know, but okay, very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I downloaded this with the intention of playing it one day when I was in between things, and then the time it took to download, something shiny came up, and I got distracted.
It is the perfect game for when it leaves Game Pass to just knock out very easily and quickly. I'd say don't rush it, but it's so short and easy to do that it would be no stress to do it in the 2 weeks.
Well, it is installed and ready to go. So
anyway, right, and that's it. 2 super cozy games, relaxing, chill vibes.
Awesome.
Yeah, so if there are any similar kind of adventure-y, cozy, Koosh type games that you'd like us to delve into or you want to talk about, then please feel free to ask on the Discord.
Perfect.
And that has been Cozy Time with Chewie and Koosh.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do it again.
Cozy Time with Chewie and Koosh.